Bingetown, how we feeling today? It's your boy Davey Solomons here with Kyle, Luke, and Jimmy. If you didn't know from the title of this episode, we are continuing our coverage of Peaky Blinders with season 6, episode 4, Sapphire. Unfortunately, still no Red Right Hand intro music.
Crazy.
But we do get a lot of developing stories and subtleties that I personally think are going to be huge to look out for going forward, such as Tommy's ailment, Gina Gray's love life, if that's what you even want to call it, and the agreement of the deal between Jack Nelson, Oswald Mosley, and Tommy. So without much further ado, let's just get into our open discussion of general thoughts on the episode.
Yeah, Kyle, you texted us having some interesting thoughts. Let's get your opinion first.
Well, I don't really want to get into the Tommy's diagnosis until we get to the scene. I guess I'll just say generally, excuse me, I'm not a huge fan of it. Like the idea of it. Obviously, we have 2 episodes and we'll see where things go, but I just don't love the idea of it. But it was just nice to get, although we were giving Ada her well-due plaudits last episode, it was nice to get a nice Tommy-centric episode where he kind of ran every scene. It was nice to be back that way. And part of me with this Red Right Hand, I mean, Tommy had his drink. Is he getting back to be crazy time? Like, it would be pretty crazy if, like, next episode it comes in because now he is the man with the red right hand again. That would be pretty cool. I would like that.
That's a good point. I think it's definitely a correlation between how Tommy's feeling and the intro music being there. So we'll see.
I think that it's going to be like a thing now. Like it's not just going to casually just happen randomly next episode.
Yeah, whenever it does.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if it is the end of season 6. Like it's the last scene leading up into the movie, and it's the first time you hear it all season, because that'd be pretty cool.
That would be hype.
Yeah.
So I have 2 thoughts, and I have some thoughts as well, Kyle, when it comes to the diagnosis. But my other 2 thoughts here are, I think this episode cemented the fact that your girl Beth Harmon / Gina says Anya sucks, and there's no reason for her to be in the show. I think they underutilized to the max Anya Taylor-Joy. You know, she's a star, and really I was hoping that they were going to give her a lot more, but now we wanted her to be maybe like the hidden big dog, or, but now she's just going to be the girl who's banging Mosley, and Tommy's going to use her for that, which is a shame. Finally, Finn's shown, and he's just shown for 2 seconds, and we get no reason why he's missing. So whatever, I guess.
Yeah.
I must have missed that. When was
he was at the funeral?
Oh, okay.
I totally missed it too, but I'm happy that you caught that. Yeah, I have no freaking idea what's going on with
He has a
Finn.
girl, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he'll be in. I don't know. I don't even know where it could possibly go that it would make me be satisfied with him missing. But this episode definitely had 2 moments where I jaw dropped, and then the one was the reveal about Gina banging Mosley, and then the other one is going to be in this first group of scenes we talk about where Tommy just starts lighting up the gypsies. I was like, holy shit, man. And Jimmy, is that what you texted us about when you said dang?
That is what I texted you guys about it, because I watched it pretty soon after our last pod, and I didn't want to say too much because I knew that there was going to be a little bit of a break because we had that day in between, so I didn't know when you guys were going to watch. So I didn't want to be like, guys, get ready for this awesome thing to happen or this crazy thing to happen. So I didn't say anything, but yeah, I mean, that was crazy. That was crazy. Tommy being back to being a badass.
We don't condone murder, but when it's like that, it's pretty fucking badass.
Yeah. I mean, it was Tommy being Tommy again. That's the thing. I mean, we said it. We asked if it was going to happen, and it did right away.
Yeah, I'll lay out.
But he said, he said that's it though. He did say I committed these murders, and now I'm done, and I'm going to be good.
Guess who's back to drinking too? 4 episodes later. I thought it was going to be 2. Luke thought it was going to be 1. And here we are 4 episodes later. So he held out a lot better than we thought, but love and hate to see him go back down that drinking hole.
I love it.
Yeah.
Before we get started here, though, I wanted to bring this up because now that this is our first episode, we're actually recording when the season's dropped for us in America. It's actually like out. I looked up the Rotten Tomato scores, and I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I was just so curious at what the general consensus is for this season compared to other seasons. And do you guys have any guesses, like how it would rank relative to the other ones if you don't know?
If I were to guess, I'm going to guess that people have it higher than what I would expect it to be. Like,
I'm going to guess people have it
seasons.
lower.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jimmy. I think it's going to be a little bit lower than like the big seasons, like season 4 or season 2.
So I don't know if it's going to change with time because
it really shouldn't, because it's been out.
Yeah, it's been out. It had, I think it had 30 critic consensus numbers, and the audience score had a lot of numbers. So it seems like it's aggregated, and it had 100%.
Wow.
From a critic perspective, I think the audience was like 94, but that's still very impressive. And I did hear that people absolutely love the finale of this season. So I'm thinking that's going to have a lot of weight and impact on it, and I'm all for it. I don't know. Maybe I'm by myself here, but I've been loving this season. I definitely think it's top. Like it's up there. And maybe it's because we're podcasting and analyzing it, and it's still holding up to me writing wise. Couple missteps here or there, but so far so good, and I'm freaking loving it.
The thing is with Peaky Blinders, the writing's never bad. Like every season is going to be at the very least good to great. And it does come as a surprise to me, because I definitely would not have put this at 100% or a 94% from my perspective. I would give those kind of scores to like what Kyle said, like the 4s and 2 seasons. But the fact that you mentioned that people love the ending already just makes me hype and just ready to continue watching, as if I mean, not that I was ever going to stop, of course, but good hype.
Yeah, my take when I did the thumbs down was that usually when you have like a diehard fandom and a show is ending, they're not happy about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and usually people aren't happy with the ending. To hear that they're happy, hopefully that means they're actually happy and they're not like, oh, it was fine, but we're hoping the movie fixes something.
Mm-hmm.
We're hoping that it's going to be a good landing. And like you said, look, I am enjoying the season a lot. I mean, the only thing really that I'm having issues with is Anya Taylor-Joy.
Okay. And I have a blind spot for her, so that doesn't matter to me.
There you go.
I'd say my only one, we've already iterated this enough, but Finn is just obviously the biggest like, red flag.
I mean, I don't think he's like missed that much. And no offense to him, but it's just weird that he was being shown a lot last season as like an up and comer, someone that they're trying to mold and get ready and say like, yo, stop doing all this crazy shit. You need to be a Peaky Blinder. You need to be a Shelby. Like they were kind of like teaching him lessons. And now all of a sudden it's just like, hey, we're not going to show you. He shows up for 2 seconds at Ruby's funeral. And then that's it again.
Mm-hmm.
I'd almost rather him not have shown up at the funeral so that we're still being like, all right, give me the reason. Give me that freaking reason.
So let me lay out these first couple scenes and we'll keep talking about it, because this is the beginning, and this whole episode, because it's Tommy centric, it kind of has to happen in order. But the first scenes we can just open the floor for are the Ruby funeral scene. And then let's talk about in this same bucket when Tommy goes and gets the revenge on those gypsies and lights them all up. And then ending with Esme telling him about his, what's the word I'm looking for? Like bastard son?
Yeah, strange son.
Strange son, dude. Yeah. So all of those scenes,
it's bastard son, but
yeah.
I will say, just very low hanging fruit comment, that Natasha O'Keefe was amazing in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
She was so good at the funeral.
She's been MVP in this entire season.
Yeah, she was so good at the funeral. And this is Lizzie, for I guess anyone out there that doesn't know who plays Lizzie, but she was great in the scene when Tommy comes back. When he's like, you know, that's the it. Like I like when he uses the analogy, like I'm on this boat and there's a lot of fucking bodies on that boat, but I'm stepping onto this other boat, and she like isn't about it. I just thought she was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Just to comment off that, and this is jumping ahead a little bit, but it's Lizzie related. I think I was completely wrong, because at the end of last podcast episode, I said that Ruby's death could be an out for Lizzie and she might get out of the game, but I think it got re-emphasized that she is going to stick around when she was asking Tommy about coming back to bed and talking about, and Charles gets referred to as her son.
Yeah, he said, go see your mom. Yes, go to your mom. And I was like actually surprised by that.
So I thought he was going to say like, you know, that's not my real mom or something like that, you know? So
seems like Lizzie's not going to tap out, and she's going to, you know, go the distance until Tommy dies.
Well, she's diehard, baby.
I'm glad that like there wasn't really any negative repercussions of Arthur not stepping up to give the speech. I was kind of worried in the moment because obviously this is an emotional time. Tommy, we know, can be a very erratic character at times.
Definitely unstable.
Yeah, so I was kind of like, is there going to be any type of retribution or payback for this? So I'm glad that it didn't come out that way.
I actually thought this was going to be the time to reintroduce Finn. I thought he was going to say, all right, well, you're the other brother. You do it. Because they do show him getting walked by. That's the first time you see him. Like, you can kind of think you're seeing
Timmy's
him.
got those laser eyes on Finn.
Yeah, like I literally, dude, as soon as they showed the funeral, I was like, he's going to be there. If he's around, he's going to be there. And for a while, you're like looking and he's far away. And you're like, I think that's him. Tommy walks right by him. It's definitely him. Arthur says, I can't do it. So I'm thinking, all right, he's going to go to Finn and say, you do it. But I mean, as Tommy walks by and then he does the speech, they zoom in and it's definitely Finn, obviously. But I'm just saying, I did think that was going to be the intro to Finn for this season.
Yeah.
I don't really
Weird.
have a ton to say, I guess, about Tommy's murders. I'm sure that felt on a certain level for him very great and cathartic. I like that we get the scene of him, like the aftermath immediately of him kind of throwing the gun part and breaking everything, kind of showing like how fucked up he is.
Crying.
But yeah, true. We never really see that happen with him.
Mm-hmm.
But the Esme estranged son storyline feels weird.
A little late.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like, where could this possibly go? I mean, is this guy going to be like Michael 2.0? Like, I don't. It just, yeah. I think that's the right way to say it. It feels like it's too late.
Yeah.
Was he ever referenced in like who was the woman they were talking about? No one.
Not even that woman, man.
Okay.
The one that
wasn't sure.
The one that Jesse Eden brings up, it's not the same one because the one Jesse Eden brought up dies.
So was this an off-screen lover then?
This is just like a lover between her. Yeah, like
this is before the war. She said.
Yeah, like he goes to war after the kid. Like the kid is born while he's in war. I'm pretty sure she said.
Okay. Because I was drawing those Last Kingdom comparisons with Uhtred and his son that gets pulled away from him, and like even the one that we're at least in the reference to the one that we know is still alive but hasn't made an on-screen appearance yet. Like at least that was referenced. Like we saw what happened there, and we knew he had that kid, and we had just been waiting for the moment. But here, it's just like that came out of left field for me.
Yeah, and it also brings up more issues with the fact that how is Lizzie going to react? Like her daughter dies, and then if Tommy brings in a new son, she's going to be like, okay, great. So now you have another son. You're trying to replace our daughter.
Yeah,
I just
now
don't.
Tommy has the terminal illness, so like, is he gonna take this kid on when he knows he's gonna pawn this kid off basically to Lizzie? I mean, like him getting this kid into his life is essentially him just passing this kid off to Lizzie.
I mean, so far he
which
said,
seems fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, so far he said like, get him out of my face, right?
Yeah.
So he's gonna take him in because we know Tommy. I mean, literally, the joke is that like whenever somebody does something and they have to kill somebody, they take the kids and take him in. You know, so Tommy's definitely gonna take this guy in, and his name's Duke, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
This is Finn's replacement. Put it on the board.
Yeah, right.
They were like, all right, Finn's getting cut in season 6. Let's introduce this new character to replace him.
What if they repurpose his actor? What if it was Finn's actor, but they made him a separate character?
What if they were just like, Finn, yo, you're Tommy's bastard son, actually. You're not his brother.
I do wish the scene was just deleted. Like Esme did not need to reappear, and this whole thing just didn't need to happen. And it's not even like the scene itself was bad. It's just the implications of what's going to happen. And we're saying that there's no real path. There's no time to form a connection with this character. All it can do is just leave an uncomfortable feeling when Tommy decides, yeah, okay, you're part of the squad now. And then Lizzie's going to have to deal with it all.
Yeah, I'm willing to eat crow if we're wrong about this and it becomes a good storyline, but it just doesn't feel like it's happening.
At least he seems a little bit older, so it's not like a kid. I mean, I mean, I guess he's technically a kid. He's probably 16-ish, but maybe it's like the Michael thing. But at least he's not like, you know, Charlie's age or Ruby's age, you know, which wouldn't make any sense. You know, he's going to have they must think that they need him for the movie.
Yeah,
possibly. Yeah.
I wonder if these like gypsies are gonna like make an appearance again in later in the season or in the movie as seeking revenge for just murdering one of their people just outright.
Not one, man.
Yeah, not one. I guess it was
Three.
three total, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. And if that's the case, then that just feels like they're kind of forcing that a little bit too much. Like it could have, like Luke said, as badass as the scene was, it didn't necessarily need to happen. Like the Sapphire stuff had already been kind of dealt with Ruby's death, and there was really no need to go hunt down the person that.
Oh,
well,
no, that had to happen.
I was fine with that. It was just the whole Esme.
Yeah, the Esme part of it. Yeah, I understand.
Last thing I'll say about these is just R.I.P. Ruby, gone too soon. Sad death.
Yeah, I mean, you said it.
I liked her as a little character. I mean, she wasn't in a bunch, but I mean,
look at my head, dude. I can't figure this shit out, man. I've been messing with it all day.
Your green screen background. It's funny when you move around.
My floating head. It's just I can't figure it out. Like I'm here, and then I just do something, and it takes away my body. I can't figure out which way to keep. It keeps me in. But yeah, you said it, Kyle, about Lizzie's actress. Natasha, you said her name is?
Yeah, Natasha O'Keefe.
Natasha O'Keefe killed it. I mean, so did Cillian Murphy with his speech. Even Arthur giving his actor showing how in pain he is and how he can't give the speech. But this is the thing here. Here's my question. Later we get the answer, but he's back on the drugs during the scene, right? That's why he can't do it? Or is he just saying I'm too upset?
I thought he was just going through severe withdrawal.
Yeah.
Like he was shaking and like relying on what's his name? Jeremiah as like a crutch.
But I thought that there's like scenes later where he's like back on it and he's collapsing and shit.
That definitely is a thing. I mean, I wonder why it happened after him and Tommy had that deep heart to heart. That's like the only thing I'm like weirded out by, is that it seemed like he was sober. Him and Tommy have that great conversation of like, all right, we're brothers again, let's run this show. And then Arthur just goes and robs these Chinese people of all their opium.
I think it was just a relapse. I think he was trying to be clean. It was really impacting him physically, like they showed, and then he relapsed terribly hard.
My guy didn't show up like I thought he would, man. I made a declaration. That guy better show up next episode.
Yeah. Al
Capone better show the hell up.
Let's move along here because this is the next quick grouping before we get to the real entree of the episode. It is just Tommy returning to Lizzie after doing the gypsy murdering and basically proclaiming his path forward of trying to find a cure for tuberculosis, and then also going to lean super heavy into being a spy for Winston Churchill. And then after that conversation is him going to meet Arthur in the wine cellar. So we can keep talking how we are. If we want to bring up anything about the Lizzie and the Tommy Quick conversation, because that really gets fleshed out later.
Nothing on that. The only comment I really have is with the Arthur situation, and that conversation made me hopeful again as an Arthur fan that, okay, here we go, redemption. And he just goes and robs these people, and it's like, okay, now are the Chinese going to be the movie villains with this opium trade?
Come on, bro.
I'm just.
You think everybody's coming for the blinders? They're not. Like they fuck up everybody. You can't.
But what I was like with what I mentioned to you before we hopped on the pod, though, it's like if I'll get to it when we get to it, but if Michael ends up not being the main villain, then they would have to introduce someone, and it's possible it could be the Chinese in a sense.
What, for the movie?
Yeah.
I would be so disappointed if the movie is them battling the Chinese in the opium trade.
Yeah, I think that would be stupid too. Absolutely. It would just come out of left field. But
I think that at where we're standing right now, Michael, Jack, or Mosley again, are the only options. Like I wouldn't be okay with it just being like, oh, the Chinese is mad at us. Here's a movie for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
That can't be it.
No.
Yeah.
I liked in this scene that that Tommy kind of confirms part of the things that people, especially Lizzie, has been saying to him, of like when she says to him in episode 1, it's like you have a list and everything is just one step towards checking everything off on that list. And he says to Arthur, since Polly died, everything has just been left, right, just trying to take the next step. And I thought that was nice that they brought back and kind of confirmed that that's actually the way he's been thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this scene was fucking amazing between these two brothers, but the problem is that
two brothers,
the opium relapse later takes away from it, because I thought this was like a real breakthrough 100%. From them. And I'll just say a couple things about it. One, when Tommy drinks for the first time, he drinks the wine. There's some nice background bass that kicks in, man, because the music department knows.
Dude, they've been on one this season, I feel like.
And then the other thing is I really like anytime they talk and they get into real deep emotional moments, they always reference the war. So it was cool. Is allegory the right word, or maybe metaphor, that the whole conversation turns towards Tommy talking about that. And Tommy lays it out, says like, Arthur, like, what's going to happen here is you're going to change your ways. Doesn't. And then he says, and I'll change the fucking world, which he's working towards doing that. But now we're kind of on a time limit here because of the reveal at the end. But overall, I thought it was just like a great scene, because you never, as much as you don't get to see Tommy go through emotional things, it still felt more powerful for me to even see Arthur have that conversation with him. So I just loved it front to back. And it was just a cool moment between the Shelby brothers, because it could be their last time they ever can really talk like this, because it seems like shit's about to really hit the fan. 2 more episodes in a movie.
Yeah. Honestly, Jimmy, when you were saying that the funeral scene was like, whoa, Arthur, and I wish I knew what his actor's name was off the top of my head.
I do.
But that he's a good actor. But this scene, I literally thought that in my head. Like, he is such a good actor. He's so good at acting as this, like, he's going through withdrawal. He's drunk. He's amazing at acting drunk. I don't know if he actually gets drunk. Like,
Paul
on
Anderson.
The set. There you go. Well, shout out to Paul Anderson, because he is amazing at being Arthur. Yeah. But I did like that, I guess, a little bit of symbolism when they kind of, it's not really shake hands, but they embrace their hands, and Tommy's hand is like squeaky clean and Arthur's is like really dirty. I just think that's like a good, basically, symbol of their relationship. Tommy's the boss that gives out the orders. Arthur's kind of the head muscle. I just thought that was nice.
Yeah.
Was there something symbolic with the cup too? The way Tommy came in, he was like, "There's like
drip."
Yeah, there's like 50 other barrels around that are full, and he's like, "Why are you using that one?" I wasn't sure if that went over my head or something.
He basically just said, like, I don't want to open any of your other wines or wine barrels, right? I mean, basically, this whole scene kills it. Just the whole conversation, the story that Tommy gives, where first they're joking about, what was it, a wrestling match, right? You know, they're wrestling for something.
Might have been a real fight, actually.
Yeah, they're tussling, whatever. And Tommy at first is joking, like, I beat you. And Arthur's like, I think it was a tie, brother. Like, I'm pretty sure it was a tie. And then the whole thing turns where Tommy's like, now that we're at this point, I actually realized that you let me win, and you've been letting me win and rooting for me my entire life, which is just damn. Yeah. You just freaking summed up Arthur's character for 6 seasons in one scene, which is amazing because it's so true. That's like, we talk about, I mean, Kathleen's not on the pod, but Kathleen hasn't liked Arthur because of his character traits. And, you know, it's not like she's wrong or anything. Arthur has a lot of flaws. But if there's one thing you can say about Arthur that is just gold and good for him, is that, you know, he loves his family, he loves his brother, and he's rooting for his brother, and he needs to make sure, even over himself, that his brother succeeds. Even though he said, you know, if you don't succeed and if you die or if you're gone, what the hell's going to happen to me? You know, he plays it off that way, but at the same time, you know, it's just, I love my brother and I'm trying to make sure he succeeds.
It's just a crazy relationship. Like, imagine that being your brother relationship. I can't.
Yeah,
it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Anything else on this part?
No.
Again, just reiterating, Tommy's back to drinking. So see where that goes.
All right. So this is going to be probably our longest talked about bucket here. And just, I'll get through everything because it's just going to cover the entire night after he meets with Arthur and he has this whole political meeting. So what just happens here is all the big players in this season come to the Shelby house. Was it the House of Commons or was this a Shelby matter?
No, it was Shelby's.
Okay. Yeah. So we have Mosley, Deanna, Laura from the IRA, and then Uncle Jack showing up. And this is the real talk. It's time to get the actual business done here. The quick Charles scene and the with reference of Lizzie being his mom, that happens. The whole IRA singing of the song before Tommy comes into the room. And then and during that part, during that part is when we get the quick check-ins with the other Shelbys, being Ada, Lizzie, and Arthur, and what they're doing. So that's free reign to talk about. And then, of course, when Tommy actually sits down at the table, and then they come to the conclusion of their whole business deals.
Laura's a coward. She's continuing to cower in the corner while these people are meeting, and she acted so strong episode 1, and now look at her. She's just a nobody at this table.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I think, Kyle, you were the first one that said you were so surprised at that first introduction of her and her conversation with Tommy. And really, she is cowering when it comes to these people. And you would think that she should be standing or sitting technically right with them and acting like she's equal to them. But she's scared.
She does throw her weight around saying that she can turn the Irish people that support her towards fascism if needed. And they kind of respect that, but you're right. Like, she just is totally the lowest on the totem pole in this room, even below Deanna, who technically doesn't really have any weight besides being Mosley's +1, but she throws a lot of her weight around too.
I don't know,
Holy
man.
shit.
I feel like Mosley's +1 is almost like an insult to her.
Yeah, she's
It's
almost
like
looked like
technically
the biggest dog
true.
there.
Yeah, but exactly the way she speaks and like what she actually contributes, she seems like the top dog in the room almost.
She seems like the most she seems very studious, I would say, like more so than anyone else. Like Jack has his knowledge from the streets. I would say Oswald Mosley is obviously a very studious, educated man. But to me, the way she has all these facts and information about just the entire world, just for me, makes it seem like she's the most intelligible of all.
She plays the game, man.
Yeah, she's definitely very well connected.
She plays the game of houses, man.
I did think it was funny that Jack was like, come on, like sing us some songs.
Yeah.
He's growing on me, I feel like, the way that he acts. Because at first it was like, whatever, because the meeting with Tommy. But now that I see his, like, he really doesn't give a fuck who he's with. He just acts like a cocky guy. I kind of like that about him.
She was like, I'm not singing this song in no way. She looks at Mosley and he's just like, sing it, I dare you. And she goes for it. But she does a good job. She kills it.
Yeah, and it's super telling that Gina wasn't in the room, not even close to being in the room.
Yeah.
Sorry, Luke.
Yeah, but you know who was in the room and they didn't realize it.
Yeah,
until Diana looks at him. Tommy just in the shadows.
That was freaking amazing. That cinematography.
I loved it.
Jimmy, I didn't feel that sexual tension that you were getting at in the past couple of recordings.
Yeah, you're
but
feeling
this
it,
one
dude.
was hot. Like, I was feeling it here, and especially with the Gina scene coming up, I'm like, okay, that even puts it more on the board that Diana and Tommy Shelby could be a thing.
So what's the benefit from Deanna's perspective? Why would she want to just throw this away?
Whoa. What's the benefit? Look at Tommy
powerful
Shelby.
Men. She likes powerful men.
Yeah, look at Tommy Shelby. He's a good-looking dude.
I really
Damaged
think
goods now, apparently, though.
It's just like a fetish. It's like
I was going to say, I think she's just has a fetish for people of power, because then in the bedroom, she could be a source of power over them, kind of thing.
It's like I'm a collector of powerful men. It's
and I can mold them.
Like, all right, I got Mosley, I got Tommy. I wouldn't be surprised if she wanted Jack too, just because it's just like you said. It's not necessarily like I want you. It's just I'm controlling you. That's just how she seems to be doing it.
If anybody was forgetting as an audience member about how morally corrupt she is, though, this was a quick reminder about the Berlin talk and the chancellor being in the room, and just the insane throwaway line about watching the Jewish person being tortured in front of them while they're just having their breakfast. So if you were forgetting, this girl is a cold bitch.
Yeah.
I wonder what that's like as an actor, like having to deliver those lines the way that she does. It's very casual. She's just telling a story, and that was something that was happening in the background.
And she's been the main one doing it. Mosley obviously gives his speeches and he does the sign and says, a couple things, but she brings up the cleansing. She brings up that story. She's the actress that's being, her lines are coming out, and it's the worst of it, and it would be interesting to talk to that actress to know how it would feel to have to, you're basically taking yourself out of your mind and just saying it as a robot or something like that.
Yeah, seriously.
She sells it.
Yeah, she really does. I guess before we get into the actual business, I guess we can get the Ada out of the way. I don't even want to say out of the way because it's a great Ada scene again. She's did nothing but bangers this season from Ada. But she gets that brick through her window from those Nazi cosplayers outside the window. And then she just steps right out into the street with a gun like a Shelby, because you don't fuck with Shelbys.
So that's the first time. I mean, we knew it, but this is the first confirmation that the baby was born, and that it's a girl, and it's because when we meet Ada this season, she's obviously not pregnant, and we just assumed that the 4 years went by.
Yeah,
but we never knew confirmation that it was a girl or anything like that. But now we know that she has a daughter and she's biracial, and she's having some problems now from, like you said, Kyle, the Nazi cosplayers. And it seems like her son. It's crazy. I think, Luke, was it you that brought up how the son is a POS because of the chess scene? Like how you brought that up this season. We joked that he's a sketch bag and he was just standing in Tommy's office staring at the freaking fireplace and, whatever. Like he just seemed like a sketch bag. But I thought that chess scene was just going to be a one and done, trying to just prove the point that back in that time, it wouldn't be accepted that Younger and Ada could be together. And I thought that was going to be the end of it, but they literally just pounded it down that Carl has these ideals, and you're fully right, Luke. It's just, he's a POS.
He's just like emo, and he's just a racist. Like he is the definition of like the people that Mosley's trying to just grassroots like grow through the fascism movement, and like that's the future of what Mosley and Deanna see for the country, and he's just the embodiment of it. And the craziest thing is like, why? Like Ada's got to be a great mother.
I was just gonna bring that up. And like, where did he learn these values? Because Ada obviously does not care about that or any of that, and he does mention that he brings up with everything with school and how his friends and like fellow students say that being around a black person rubs off on you, and so I guess it's just that environment. But maybe she taught him some of Freddie's ideals when he was young, and he just kind of grabbed onto them, and then with everything being around him, it just grew and grew.
But isn't it the opposite? Hatred? Because Freddie ideals was the communist, the exact opposite.
Yeah, I don't even know. It's just left.
Yeah,
this guy's an asshole and needs to.
I don't know if they're ever going to explain it. I just don't like. I don't think they're ever going to get an explanation for it. It's just it's gonna come to a head, I think, at some point. I mean, she literally tells him like, "You're an idiot. You're fucking half Jewish."
Yeah, right.
Like you gotta stop being an idiot.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No surprise that he's racist and stupid.
Yeah, I like I said, I wasn't expecting that hard of a push of a scene for his character.
And that must just like break Ada's heart. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. She must obviously, off scene or all, like
offset when they call cut.
Not offset. She's like, "Yo, man, you okay, whatever. I'm not Jesse Eden, dude." But no, but I'm saying like there's obviously been off-screen development of this too. Yeah. He's probably done this to Ada in times that we haven't been able to see it, which, like you said, breaks her heart. But this is where it comes to a head so far, and awful scene for Carl.
So,
Jesus.
Added to the list of we got Carl, we got Duke, and then we got Carl, Duke, and Finn as just three pieces of plot that I don't care about, that have too much screen time, that it feels like there needs to be some sort of payoff, or what's the point?
Well, Finn has no screen time.
He's got 2 scenes, bro. Both funerals.
Okay. Yeah. He's only around when people die.
He's the only one who deserves the screen time because he's been fleshed out for 3 seasons or 4 seasons, whatever it is.
Yeah, I'd rather have Finn than Duke or Carl.
You just know this is gonna be something we talk about after we've all watched episode 6. It could be one of the first things we get out of the way. Like, did they freaking do it for us in some way that we didn't foresee, or was it just bad?
Yeah.
All right. But back to what's actually doing it for us.
Well, no. Pin in the Ada stuff, because let's hit the other 2 that we catch up with real quick. We get Lizzie, who there's nothing really here. She's just breaking down with Ruby's horse, and it's just the epitome. Like, this is what's been happening with her the whole last couple episodes. So nothing really there, unless you guys want to bring anything up. And then the other thing is just Arthur, who we kind of covered this already. He goes down to Chinatown, relapses, and then I guess he's making enemies there. I don't really know. Maybe it's just more about the fact that he's just collapsing and everything is crumbling in the Shelby household.
For some reason, when he runs out with all that opium, I was just thinking of the Captain Jack Sparrow, like, get away. And with all that opium just like running away.
He didn't make it far.
So obviously this is a reaction to the fact that Ada told them, "You are not selling to Arthur, or Tommy will take care of you."
Yes.
So Arthur goes in and says, "Sell to me," and they say no, and then he has to beat him up and shit.
Mhm.
Yeah, it wasn't
that's
like
fucked up.
malicious.
Yeah, it wasn't like he was like, I'm just stealing your opium. It was
Yeah.
literally, we won't sell it to you. And he's like a junkie who says, yeah, you are. I'm
Mhm.
Arthur. And then,
Exactly.
you know,
And we can leave it at that. We'll get more, I'm sure. Next time we see
Yeah.
Arthur, it's going to be very telling of like where his plot's going to end for this season. He's either going to be a complete mess. I don't see it being any other way, to be honest. He's just going to be a
Yeah.
complete mess probably in episode 5.
Yeah, 2 episodes to turn around opium addiction. That's not looking too
my
good for
boy Al Capone will be there.
them.
help him out.
But okay,
I better not
let's-
take an L on that one.
Let's open it up for the actual business when Tommy sits down at the table.
Well, he's out of it, obviously. You know, he's still the man, and he can still show them enough that, you know, that to show he's a businessman, to show he's Tommy Shelby, and that he's in the game with them. But the whole thing is showing that he's really just, his mind is elsewhere, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Even when
I
they,
also think. Go ahead, Dave.
I was gonna say, even when they all come to agreements with letting the opium into the unit, Boston, there's no reaction from his.
Yeah, he's
face.
just like, good.
Yeah, he's like, this is fine.
Yeah, I also
I
think
do-
it shows. I'm sorry, but it just kind of shows in how the meeting went too. I mean, it's like somewhat awkward. They just like, it's just like a couple bullet points, and then it's like, all right, let's get out of here. Especially because Diana literally says, like, "Well, I had a meeting in Germany, and it went till the sun came up, and all this shit." And this was just like the complete opposite of that.
I mean, this is the second one that they're having without. Well, Tommy wasn't there at the first one, but that first one was again straight to the point, just like this one. I don't think any of them. I think they're all meant to be, even though the interactions are really good, it is meant to still be a little bit awkward, and they're just business at the end of the day. And they were just, okay, we got it. We got the agreement down. All right, that's it. See ya.
I think the more interesting aspect of this conversation, besides the fact that it pretty much goes smoothly as you could hope for if you're Tommy, is Jack. So Jack questioned Tommy slightly about his commitment to this whole idea because he's a socialist, but then Mosley actually steps in. And this is the whole purpose of Tommy's collaboration with Mosley over these past 4 years, is the idea that he is just building one of the biggest bases as a politician in England. And he's just going to eventually flip the switch and go from socialism to independent. And then at that point, he can just, from Nelson and Mosley's perspective, push him into whatever direction he wants to. And when Nelson starts when Nelson starts questioning Tommy's commitment, Mosley backs him up and says all these things and says, prove it physically. Do the
Right.
I don't even know what that.
Say Paris. What is it?
Paris Judah.
The fascist hand wave. Do this for him in front of his face. And as soon as he does, that's when Jack says, you know, like, you're here after your daughter died. Like, I get it. I take this as an acceptance, and you can now start selling opium in Boston. And then as Tommy's being distant, like we pointed out, Jack is one of the people that the camera focuses in on as Jack noticing this about Tommy. So I don't know if that's even going to come into play at all, but like Jack's not dumb and he's very like observant. So he has this information now too.
I think it's just more about him knowing that, him just taking a note that Tommy is just not in a great place. And let me just use that to my advantage potentially later down the line. I also really like the camera angle style that we get in this episode. I feel like that's something very unique that I haven't seen done at least in a while. It kind of reminded me of like that 70s show a little bit.
Yeah, nice.
But when the camera kept rotating around, I was just wondering, do the actors just sit there and wait for a second for the camera to get onto them and then they start doing their, I thought it was still cool, but it worked out really well. And it added more tension to the scene by just focusing solely on one person at a time in that rotation to just emphasize they're all in one room. And I just thought it was really good camera work right there.
That would be cool to see, like, a behind the scenes and how they shot that.
Yeah.
I think I noticed that it went like quickly to everyone else, and then when it was going to Tommy, it like slowly went to Tommy.
Maybe to purposely get the reactions of everyone else's views.
Yeah. The music though too at the end of this scene when Jack like confirms that they can sell the opium, and then it's like that little bit of silence, and the music is like built. It literally, the subtitle said music intensifies, and I was like, yeah, damn right it does.
So my 2 points that I want to say are, number one, Love the writing, the subtle writing that you give Tommy here. He didn't say thank you when Jack says you could sell opium in Boston. He said good. That's Tommy Shelby, because that's, he's making sure he's not under Jack. The other thing is, I wanted to ask you guys, did you think that we were finally going to have like a public meltdown in front of these people when we were getting the scene where he's like zoning out and staring at the rocking chair thing? And he does walk out and he's done with it when he's just like, all right, we're done here. But did you think that there was going to be any kind of public meltdown for once, which I 100% didn't want, but
No.
I was feeling like, oh shit, is this happening here?
I thought he was just going to fire off some rounds like he did at them. Not at them, but just like how he
Can
did.
you
after
imagine like they're all in a
ships.
meeting, all of a sudden he's just shooting bullets at the ceiling and they're like, oh jeez.
But I didn't honestly.
Diana would be wet across the table.
I must have you.
I didn't even notice it was a rocking chair when it first zooms in on him looking at it.
It's like a horse thing, right?
Yeah, I was sitting there processing. I'm like, what am I supposed to be looking at?
Yeah, it's Ruby's toy.
But it was, they clarified that it was Ruby's toy, which he eventually burned.
So Luke, did you think anything, or did you just think it was him zoning out and he was going to still be able to end the meeting fine and still in the right status quo that he's been in?
I don't really know, because I did just watch this like an hour ago, and when I was my thought about that ending where it is weird, like what's he going to actually say? It's the first time in maybe ever of this series where I didn't feel that his like prowess was as like we're saying he got, he says good, so that's a little badass. He does a couple of things here, but it just felt like he left so much on the table that wasn't being said that was what I was thinking about. I was like, what is he going to say? I thought he was going to break into an epic speech, kind of like at the end of episode 1 when he finally starts talking about the poetry and like saying who's who in front of Michael and the Americans. I thought it was going to be something like that, so I was pretty surprised when he doesn't even say meeting's over. He just says good and then stands up and leaves.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't there, and I already said that. When he's going to the meeting, he's pretty much saying like, I can do this, it's in my head, like he's psyching himself up. I would like to count at how many words he actually says in this meeting, and you could tell he's totally zoned out, and the silence is killer, because there are plenty of times where Jack talks to him and then there's that silence, and even the good was so long after Jack says what he says that I thought they were going to be like, Tommy, are you there?
Yeah.
Tommy, and it was going to be kind of like a breakdown of the meeting. He still got out what he needed to get, but he wasn't Tommy taking control of the meeting and taking control on a high note of the end of a meeting like he usually does.
Yeah. Felt weird.
Yeah, definitely.
The classic Dave P break. Let's do it.
We got fucking two
you
things
son
left.
of a bitch.
All right. When he gets back, we'll just go right into the next bucket, which is just going to be Tommy getting the doctor news. No, that's the end. So it's going to be Tommy talks to Lizzie for like 1 second, and then just the Gina stuff. So that'll be the
Gina.
next. Yeah.
Do you want to do that as one thing? You just want to talk about Tommy, Lizzie, like real quickly, and then move on?
I would just open it up for both, because I don't even know what to say about that. Besides, he says I'm going to change for the good or something like that. Like I really have nothing on that.
Your shit, dude. You're so full of
I
it.
mean, the only thing I'm going to say is that she just is clearly dying out for some level of emotional support from Tommy, and he just cannot give it to her.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know if
I can really
this is
even
good.
say that quickly, and then we can move right on.
Yeah, and I have something to say too, so we're good.
Okay. Is it as like emotional as
No.
intelligent as what I said, or is it
No, it's not. That's the problem. So,
So Jimmy wants to go first.
Yeah, let me
Let's see.
look.
I
I don't
can
know
wrap
if it's
us up.
better if I'm first or second, because if I go first, then you're gonna whoop my ass right after.
I can play us out. Let me play us out.
Yeah, no, you take control on me.
Nah, let me play it.
Nah, you do.
I'll play us out.
Westworld fucking screeners 10 days in advance, baby. Let's go.
Bro, I'm gonna
email it
myself if I have to.
I mean, I'm caught up. I would have to rewatch 3 definitely.
You're an
I would
Umbrella
like
Academy
to.
guy, though.
Well, yeah, but Umbrella, I think we're only doing half and half.
It's gonna be 2 episodes.
like 2 eps. That's it. Yeah.
I just
I just accepted
no
that I'm off the
interest
boys. Like I haven't literally watched
talking about
any of the boys
Westworld.
yet.
I'm gonna jump in probably they're doing episode 5 this week, so probably I could be a part of 6, 7, 8, or at least 2 of them. Dave's probably going to want to be on one of those too.
For what?
For the boys, like the,
I already told Paul. I actually kind of
not
so
5, right?
No, I said to Paul 5.
So that's
they said Wednesday.
How?
Yeah. So
Did
I
you already
thought,
watch 6?
No, I've only seen up to 5.
So what are we doing about?
So I thought we were going to do Peaky Blinders 4 today, 5 tomorrow, 6 on Thursday.
Okay.
I would
no,
be able to
I don't
do-
think I could do Thursday. I mean, I don't care if I'm off it or not, but
Bro, that's
Well,
the
yeah, I mean, we
finale.
could-
finale.
oh yeah.
No, I mean,
See,
I mean, it
tomorrow,
depen- it
tomorrow's an issue for
depends.
me. Tomorrow it needs to be like late recording,
I mean, that's fine. These are only an hour anyway.
I mean,
like 9 o'clock late.
I don't have like to get Jimmy on for the finale. I don't have to be on the boys. We can do that Wednesday. I could try and be on the boys for 6 then.
it's just tough because Thursday like affects our editing with the weekend. Like we can't.
yeah, because we're all gonna be at the bachelor party on the weekend, so
I would rather just do late tomorrow, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But I don't know.
That's fine with me.
Yeah.
I'm just tomorrow. I have my like weekly night meeting.
Is there something specific on 5 that you care about, or you just want to just jump on it? Because why not
No, I
just
just
do the
wanted to
last
jump
3?
on it. Yeah.
Yeah, just do
that's why
6,
I'm
7,
saying,
8.
Yeah,
If
I
it
just
actually
wanna jump on
affects-
it
Yeah,
then.
but
Yeah, I
it
just wanted to
affects
hop on.
us, and then you might as well just ignore it. Because I felt the same way. Like I feel like we deserve to be on it because we binge so much of it. But like at the same time, this is
Yeah.
like our.
5's definitely great.
Oh
I
yeah,
haven't, I haven't seen anything.
bro. I
Crazy.
love Jason or
5's
whatever
really good.
Jensen. The fucking
Jensen
soldier-
Ackles, yeah.
dude, he is just.
When did they actually intro him? Because I've
Episode
I edited-
4,
I edited
right
the
at
first-
the end.
It's 3. Episode
What?
3. He's in it's a flashback.
Oh, well, I guess like real time intro him is episode 4.
yeah.
Okay.
People were probably the stands are probably fucking hugely pissed at that.
Yeah. It's so
Because-
funny reading all their theories online about what's gonna happen next, and like having watched episode 5, and like they're
Mm-hmm.
all just wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just begging that he lives this season and is in the next season.
I mean,
If that's a thing.
our our minion for the boys is pretty much like the
His-
Jensen Ackles account.
Yeah.
Because as soon as if I post a meme, they're like, oh yeah, give me 20 likes or so, which is obviously not bad. And then if it's anything with a hashtag Jensen Ackles and it's a Soldier Boy, I get like 500.
Yeah, that's fucking.
So
hilarious.
it's like, I mean, I literally, and I said for a while, I started just being like, who's ready for Jensen Ackles, baby? Let's go.
Another quick side note that this is just related to that. Is there? Dave brought this up recently. Do you know the process about getting a blue check on Twitter?
Oh, I tried, and so far I tried, and we're in no because they.
What are the requirements?
You just go into your settings and you ask, but I think they want you to be published to prove. Like if you're a celebrity, then you're proven. But if we're like a publication or a podcast, they need you to be published somewhere.
Well,
To
don't
be
we have that
proven.
one thing that we were?
I sent us like 5. I sent them like 5 from Dexter and like other things like that. And I thought we were money. Like I
Yeah.
thought that was gonna be good enough, and they just came back and were like, "Oh, it's not enough right now, but just ask later or something."
The process of getting blue
Yeah, I was
check
like, you don't
verified on
freaking know
Twitter
Binge
is
Town TV, bro.
so ridiculous because there are like
We'll get there.
streamers who will go like trending on Twitter who are like, get this man verified. Like for a
Yeah.
while, like Tim the Tap Man, let's say, wasn't verified and he finally got verified.
That's
but then like
ridiculous.
but then there's like people with like 600 followers,
Yeah.
1,000 followers who are also blue check
Like if you're
verified.
say you work for comicbook.com, right? And you're Brandon Davis and he has a lot of followers, but then you're somebody else who works for comicbook.com and you have 400. If you work for comicbook.com and send in
It's
that as
automatic.
your publication, they're like, "Boop, you're good."
That's the
You know?
Crazy, yeah. All right, let's get back into this.
All right, Jimmy, you're going first.
No, you're going
do you want
first.
me to
I
just
don't-
say? I'll say the 2 buckets or the 2 scenes, and then. Okay.
Yeah.
That works.
All right. Before we get to the finale of this episode, that doctor scene at the end, let's quickly talk about what happens in between, which is just Tommy quickly has a conversation with Lizzie right after this big meeting, and then also the whole Gina Gray scene, which is going to be fun to talk about. But so you guys had quick comments on the Lizzie part.
Yeah, I can go first, Jimmy. Don't
Oh,
worry.
okay.
So
All right,
I got
all right.
2 quick comments. One, Tommy Shelby, paper trail, paper trail, paper trail. He's a criminal. He knows this. So that's smart. And then 2 is that my girl Lizzie is just dying for some type of emotional connection. She wants some level of support from Tommy, and he is just incapable of giving it to her. And it's just kind of hard to watch.
To him, it's just, I'll give you the support later. Let me just get the work done now. And it's
Yeah.
like, you really should give the support now.
And now he's not realizing that there is any support or time for support later.
Yeah.
But ever since the war, they talk about this so much, how Tommy's changed. Since, he was a smiling guy, he laughed a lot, he was totally different. The war happens, and now he's quote unquote a robot, or he's totally different. Well, besides just the war, now we have 6 seasons of him changing, especially between 5 and 6. I don't know if Tommy was emotionally available enough for Lizzie at any point in these 6 seasons. Now it's like not even freaking close. Like you were, Kyle, you nailed it when it was the scene where it's in the rain at the end of the last episode.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, oh my gosh, please just
go
to
like
her.
touch her.
Yeah,
Just
go
put
put a hand on her shoulder or something. My goodness.
Yeah.
And this is the same thing. And it gets worse too with the whole him saying, she like goes to touch him and he's like, don't touch me, not now, later.
Yeah.
And I get it. It's the whole, like, if I break down now, I'll break down and I can't come back. And it's even Lizzie says that at one point to Ada, when Ada's like, you can cry or you can do whatever you need. And she's like, I need to be strong or I'll cry forever, whatever. That is fine. And that's been in millions of shows and it's a true statement, but it's hard to say that to someone. It's literally your wife, the mother of your daughter. And it's like, yo, not now. Let me do my business first, and then we'll take care of this later. It's like, what? It's tough.
I don't really have anything else to add there, but the one thing I thought was pretty badass is just they casually just throw in the idea that Tommy just like has a photographic memory. He's like, if I could write everything down word for word right now for Churchill, that was pretty cool. And then it just kind of devolves into an emotion.
And he's drinking whiskey during it.
Yeah,
he's drinking some whiskey.
Typewriters are just so inefficient, right?
Oh,
because if you mess up right, you have to scrap the whole thing and then restart.
Well, I mean, you can like cross something out.
Oh, that's right.
But yeah, it looks like shit. So if you're like a perfectionist, then yeah, you pretty much would have to redo everything.
Which Tommy definitely is. But
yeah.
Kyle, you said you had 2 points, and I cut you off, I think, after the first one. Or did we already cover both of them?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, and then going to the Gina scene.
Woo. This is crazy.
This was wild.
Okay, so they do, if you look in hindsight, have a scene where Gina looks at Mosley, and it's kind of like when Mosley looks at the black swan from Swan Lake, and he's like, I'm going to go bang the swan. Like, there is a scene in one of the prior episodes when they first meet that they look at each other, and it's like, now in hindsight, you could be like, it's that same kind of look. I never would have been like, yo, they're going to bang. Like, I had no theory about that. I've never said it, but there is some hindsight on there. But I don't know what else to say besides what I said in the very beginning. Like, it's a shame. I just think that they're misusing Anya Taylor-Joy as an actress. She's just going to be Tommy's blackmailing her to get info now. That's just her character for the rest of the season. There's nothing else to her.
My big takeaway from this, I mentioned this to Luke before the podcast, but this does open a little bit of a can of worms here, because there's a small possibility of Michael now returning with Tommy, I think.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Only if Tommy would accept them, though.
That's the only reason why I was talking all that bullshit with the Chinese potentially being the movie characters, because if Gina cheats on Michael, who we knew was already very protective. Well, okay.
If she gets caught,
she gets caught, yes. Because we knew Michael was very protective of her. Like, the moment they have that discussion when he's in jail and he's freaking out over, don't you dare fucking cheat on me with Tommy. I mean, he does specifically say Tommy, not others, but if he finds out about this, to me, it seems like that would crush him. He seems to be more in love with her than she loves him. It's more of, I can use Michael to get all of what I want. So maybe in the end, there's a little bit of a redemption in Tommy's eyes for Michael to come back and join the squad. But I think it's really small. Obviously, their relationship is so bad right now. It would take a lot for them to have to come back and work together in order to take, but they would have to work together in order to take Jack Nelson down and Gina down. So just something I thought during this scene.
I feel like I have 100 things to say about this scene. I mean, the first thing I'm going to say right off the bat is I was jealous as fuck, obviously. But
fair.
I want to talk about what you said, because that got to me when you said it off pod, like right before we started here, about the idea that Michael, who knows how he's going to react to this, but this is like the most impactful scene to me for how I thought the movie was going to go in my head because of this.
Absolutely.
Because I don't see a world where Michael is fully committed to this Gina thing against Tommy ever again now. Because if at any point Michael squads up with Gina and even Uncle Jack, he could just drop this. And then there's that whole dispute. And I actually love this. So I think for the Peaky Blinders, this is 100% win. This whole scene.
Oh yeah, agree.
We got the spy being sent to Berlin, some leverage over Mosley and Gina, and then some leverage against Michael too. So it just felt like this was just an amazing scene. And this is the one that I said earlier was like a jaw drop, because when Mosley throws that leg down and it's fucking Anya, I was like, Jesus Christ, where the fuck did this come from? Because Jimmy, I didn't catch any of those innuendos in previous episodes either.
Yeah, no, if you go back and look, there's just one scene, and I remember the scene, but again, like I said, I'm only doing it in hindsight, and it's one of those things where we always joke about, like, they banging, they're gonna bang, like, that kind of thing. So if that goes in your head for a second, like, oh, that scene, are they gonna bang? Like, that's a hindsight kind of thing now. But yeah, it's interesting. It would be interesting to go back and see their reaction or their interactions.
I don't think we'll ever get like confirmation of this, but I was wondering, the first thing I thought of was like, if Ada, like, obviously Ada must have given some type of report to Tommy after the meeting. And like, did she mention something like that? That like she noticed something as well between the two of them. But he also says that he knows that Mosley has that apartment.
I mean, he gets the call, and I love it. What's his response when he gets the call? I forget what it is. Like, I don't know, whatever it is. He's just like, no shit, pretty much. Like, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna head over right now.
So honestly, cool. Dude, for like a half second, I thought it was Jack and her.
Oh my
God. but not like
dude,
I thought like the relationship that they had, like, as uncle and niece was fake. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I was like, whoa, this is crazy.
Yeah. I thought you were saying that was Jack's leg, dude.
Oh, that Mosley and Jack.
That's even better.
That's even crazier. Yeah.
Oh god.
Wow. Tommy might
fascists get down like that.
Tommy could control the world if that was actually a thing, and he had that dirt.
God,
yeah.
Holy shit. But last thing I'll say though is that this is the first time, I think, since the beginning of season 5 that we've ever seen Gina rattled. And she played it fine as Tommy was leaving, but the second he leaves, she says fuck. So like that's the first time we've ever seen her on the back foot, I would say.
I'm pissed you brought that up, because I was literally just about to say it. Because actually the one time you can maybe count this or not is when Tommy mentions that he would sell to the Jews over Jack.
You're
Jack
right.
said no.
Yeah.
But this was like the first time she vividly was, this guy actually knows his shit.
I just lost this battle.
Yeah, she was so shocked in the first place to even see Tommy show up there, that he knew about their relationship and was not surprised by it. But she loved seeing her on her heels for a little bit there.
Yeah. The last thing I want to say is that I love the fact that Ada uses like the whole gypsy reputation to like make a joke about like how they have these special powers, and then Tommy does the same exact thing in this scene where he's like, I'll know if you lie, because like and that's so good that she clearly lies to him, and he looks at her, just chuckles and leaves.
And it's such a great reason for him to be able to ask that question without there being any weird pretense or anything like that, where he's just like, is Michael coming after me? Can I trust Michael? Like, what a great way to be able to ask the question. And he obviously knows she's lying. And there goes, like what you said, Luke and Dave, she knows that he got her.
Yeah. But technically she didn't answer the question. So maybe it's
but that's the thing. Tommy's response is money, dude.
Well, maybe it's ambiguous. Well, I mean, maybe that makes it less ambiguous, but for me, after seeing the Gina cheating scene, thinking about Michael potentially coming back to the return of the Shelbys, when she doesn't explicitly say he's coming after you, I'm like, okay, like there's some potential here to rehash the old relationship.
To me, his response was like, that you just confirmed he is.
Yeah, but is also how I took it. Definitely.
The thing is, that Tommy will work with people if he needs to. He does it all the time. I could see Michael and Tommy joining forces as a I hate you kind of thing, but we have to work together. But I would never, I can never see like Michael come back into the company and like that just can't happen. I mean,
okay, that would make a little bit more sense as you know, they come together to take down Jack, the IRA, and Oswald,
and
then maybe in the movie
Tommy
he becomes,
freaking kills him.
He becomes the villain like we thought in the movie as a final showdown. But
somebody's got to take over for Jack's spot. You know,
right,
maybe
right,
Michael
exactly.
takes that part over, and then he's the big dog. Maybe he has a side plan. You know, we'll have to think about that once we get a little bit closer.
All right, we ready to take her home? Because we got this last scene, and I know I'm sure we have a million thoughts on it.
Yeah.
This is where Tommy finally reads the letter that Lizzie's been trying to get him to open, and we find out that there's an urgent need for the doctors to talk to Tommy. So his personal doctor makes a house call because nobody can get a hold of him. And then we find the shoe drops. We find out that he got an offshoot type of disease from Ruby's tuberculosis called tuberculoma.
Tuberculoma, yes.
Tuberculoma. So it's a non-cancerous tumor that's also like on his brainstem. Whatever it is, it's basically a death sentence.
It's gonna grow and kill him, but it's not contagious.
It's not contagious, and he is told he has roughly 18 months to live.
Right.
And then also that he's hiding it from Lizzie. That's the last thing.
I didn't take that he had gotten it from her because Tommy's been sick before he saw her again. Because
that's true.
He says he had a seizure.
The seizure was on the boat.
On the way over.
Unless she was sick and contagious without showing symptoms. The
timelines for that don't match up. I feel like they even went out of their way almost to say like it's not like because I thought it was going to be that he gave it to her because she was sick, got better, and then got really sick
once he was actually around.
Yeah, but the doctor said that he wasn't. I thought it was going to be cancer because the doctor came in with no mask. So I was like, okay, like he doesn't think Tommy's actually sick. So I'm like, they're going to fucking tell him that he has cancer and I'm going to hate every second of it. And then they
it pretty much is.
Yeah, and then they did this and I was like, I don't really like it.
So why? What's the problem with it?
I just feel like after everything we've been through, after all of I guess they have the line where the doctor says, I know you've defeated a lot of enemies, but you can't defeat this one. And that's not the way I envisioned Tommy going out, you know?
But I'm on your page. No, I was going to introduce you into telling this because I think I'm on a little bit more of Luke's side where I get where you're coming from, Kyle, and maybe the scene itself with the lines being a little bit cheesy. Like, here's one enemy that you're going to have to face that's internal. Okay, corny a little bit, but I'll let Luke break it down a little bit more because I think I'm with him on this a little bit.
Because I brought it up. It was either last podcast or 2 episodes ago on episode 2 where I said that the last thing in this world that I want for the ending of the show is for Tommy to have the same ending as Walter White. I don't want him to just die by one of these disputes, even if it was from Mosley, which isn't like a gangster death, but it's the same concept. I said that I would have preferred him to get sick and die like this. So this is pretty much check that box. So not that I predicted this was going to happen. I guess I'm just looking at it the opposite way where I prefer him to not actually be bested by one of these adversaries. I prefer it to be something like this. Or I said he can get away and be like Dexter where he just lives by himself.
Yeah, it's funny that you're saying like you don't want it to be Walter White because kind of it is in a way where like I would envision
that's true.
Tommy's like Walter's dying from cancer and he can't get his treatment and he basically throws his life away to save Jesse. Spoiler alert. Statute of limitations, we're done with that one. But you could see Tommy doing the same thing. Like I feel like Tommy, knowing his personality, would rather go out in a blaze of glory knowing he's gonna be sick and die anyway than to just be like, all right, I did what I need to do and now just let me turn into somebody that has to have my loved ones take care of me at all times. Like that's not Tommy. Tommy won't be able to deal with that. So we already know his suicidal tendencies from the last couple seasons. Like I honestly think it could be a situation where there's just like this one last thing he needs to do and it's going to be a suicide mission, but it's going to change the world somehow and boom,
I think that's just rough because
Yeah.
why the
Yeah,
fuck
I
would you
mean-
just copy? That is exactly
Yeah,
Breaking Bad.
Exactly. I just feel like a part of like I would rather have it be like 100% because Tommy is making this sacrifice because he is turning that corner and is like
Right.
I can do this for the world versus like I'm gonna die anyway. So
Okay.
it just feels wrong
Yeah.
that Tommy now has a fucking terminal illness. Like
I think
Right.
either way you paint it, it's going to be a remake of something that's already been done in the past.
You know,
Fair.
you know, well, yo, let me actually
but
say.
I was also going to make the case too that Peaky
he was making a
Blinders
good
is al-
point there.
But I'm
Yeah.
but I also kind of see where you're coming from with that noise, if you want to call it that, Jimmy. And that Peaky Blinders, with Peaky Blinders is such a very good show, and it's already such a unique take on the gangster lifestyle with a combination of a little bit of fantasy with real world historical fiction, or I
Right.
guess that's what I'm going with. It's just-
Nonfiction and fiction. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
blend.
So I could see them taking a route that's very unique as well. But right now, just black and white, it seems like it's going to be a remake of something that's already been done, to me at least.
I mean, if you're gonna tell me that he's gonna go out and blaze glory killing Hitler, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
You know?
right,
Oh,
right,
fuck
right.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
sweet. That sounds
Well,
awesome.
It's just that the whole terminal illness thing just leaves a bad
Yeah,
taste in
it's
my at the
tough.
moment. Also, it was literally the end of the episode. I mean, who knows
Yeah,
what's gonna
yeah.
happen.
And
But-
Dave, my weird noise was because if you follow Bingetown TV's TikTok at Bingetown TV Podcast, you'll know that we did a crazy TV fact that the creator of Peaky Blinders, Stephen Knight, has never seen many great shows. Like he's never seen The Wire, he's never seen Sopranos, like he's never seen a lot of the hit shows because he doesn't want to accidentally steal from them.
Mhm.
And he says he doesn't often watch TV, he doesn't often watch movies. And he says, yeah, it's weird, but I don't want to accidentally get any kind of I don't want to steal anything pretty much.
that's
Yeah.
mad respect from me.
Yeah.
Has he
That's a-
seen Breaking Bad?
I don't remember.
Well, if that's like the only show that he watches. Dude, that
He's
was
like, dude, I
fire."
freaking loved that ending, dude. I'm glad he hasn't seen Dexter, dude. But
Oh, that's
okay,
great.
so let me just be crazy, okay? Because I'm crazy.
Please.
So I'm not putting this on the board, okay? I always have a crazy theory, and I just would love to talk to you guys about it. And I just want to hear how crazy or how hot of a take you guys think it is. And I definitely think it's hot enough of a take where I'm not saying at all that I'm ready to put it on the board, but I just want to talk it out. So we have Tommy, and I'm actually going to throw like the devil's advocate at myself too, where I might be defending against, like, for myself and against myself. But we have Tommy finding out that he has an illness, and it's going to kill him pretty much. He says, I have 18 months to live now. And that's going to be the trajectory towards the end of the season, the end of the movie. Like, how are you going to have a freaking movie without Tommy? Right. So what if this is the 30s? Could this be fake? Could they be fucking with him? Now, the problem is here's the devil's advocate. It's his doctor that he's had for a year plus, right? So the only way, it's not like you're throwing a fake doctor in and just saying it to Tommy. You would have to have bought this doctor off. So that's the one thing that could be a little sketchy. The other thing is, I was actually thinking about this when I first watched it, and I was like, I don't really know any motive. The only person that could have a motive for this would be Churchill. And that would be because he thinks that fascism is moving too fast, and he wants Tommy to move faster. So he says, so like literally it's back in the day. It could be an X-ray of anybody. And they could be like, yo, now here's the other devil's advocate. He's been having the seizures. And we had the exact conversation with the doctor being like, have you been having any hallucinations? Have you been having any seizures? Blah, blah, blah. So I can't really explain the seizures unless we were right in the first place. And the seizures are actually this lack of sleep and stress. And it's just a coincidence. But I just wanted to put it on the board I don't want to put it on the board. I wanted to throw it to you guys that, like, what if someone was fucking with them pretty much?
This let me go real quick because this kind of ties into something that I wanted to talk about too. So I might get us off a little bit off topic just for a second, but I'll try and bring us back into this conversation. So with the timeline of it being 12 to 18 months for him to live,
until 12 to 18 months until he's not capable of being Tommy anymore, pretty much.
Okay.
Like, it won't kill him at that point, but
Be in
he
bed,
needs to
dying.
be
Yeah.
with people at caring for him 24/7. So
what-
pretty much it for
so
our
what
intents and purposes.
Yeah. So where my mind was at when I heard that was, does the movie take place within that 12 to 18 time period? So the season will end. Does the movie take place within that 12 to 18 months? Or does he find a cure and then the movie takes place years later? Because 12 to 18 months is not that long of a time skip for the younger characters to me at least, to make an impact in the show, like Carl,
Right,
Charles,
right,
whoever else you want to throw into that bucket. So with
You-
you bringing that, with you bringing up the idea that it's fake, that allows more time for the movie to be
farther in the
future and for those characters to develop. So I think on paper that theory sounds a little ridiculous,
Yeah.
but when you kind of make sense of it, trying to fit it into the movie timeline, I can understand why you would say that this is fake, or, like I'm saying, like maybe he finds a cure for it down the road, because that's the only way to make up that time in the movie.
Right.
So
I mean, the one thing that I will say, and now in my defense, is I didn't even think about it. Kyle, you said the timelines don't match up with them telling him straight up that they believe he got it from his daughter.
No, they didn't say that.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, they did. The line was pretty much straight up like you got it from Ruby.
So what he said, the doctor, is that the tuberculoma is basically caused from the same bacteria that your daughter Ruby had, tuberculosis, except yours is not contagious versus hers is as contagious as if you give you a kiss, you can get this bacteria.
Right.
So I think it's pretty just implied that while Tommy was home, he got this. And
that's how I took it
Yeah.
too, is that
Yeah.
he got it from her. I was pissed because a couple podcast episodes ago, I was saying that I thought they were personally related. I had mentioned that I thought Tommy and Ruby getting at the same time wasn't just a coincidence. I thought personally it was going to be more gypsy curse.
Yeah, right.
related,
Mystical. Yeah.
rather
yeah,
than it being actual transmitted. But
Mhm.
I took it the same way as you did, Jim. I thought that it was just totally implied that he just got it from her.
So if you're saying that the timelines do match up, it would mean that they both got it together, then Tommy went away, and then they both got sick at the same time. Or the timelines don't match up, and Tommy got sick while he was away from Ruby, and then they came back together, and now they're trying to say you got sick from Ruby, but he was already having the seizures, so someone's wrong. Now, again, I definitely don't want to put this on the board, and if you want to talk out his actual enemies right now, Mosley and Jack, there's no reason for them to fake him out, because they'll just kill him if they want to just kill him. I don't see why there would be a reason to fake him out. The only reason I could think of was Churchill trying to speed up him doing his Tommy stuff to end the fascism.
And that it actually kind of sucks knowing that the movie's going to end at the start of World War II.
Oh, I don't know that for sure.
we don't
That's
know
just
that
what
for sure?
that's
Oh,
just
okay.
what the creator said. Like his plan eventually was like that was his hopes. Like years ago, he said that.
years
Okay,
ago.
so never mind what I was just about to say.
Yeah.
So Luke, take it away.
So I think that's the coolest theory ever. If what you're saying, Jimmy, became true, where this was all orchestrated by Churchill to speed up the downfall of fascism, I think that would maybe be my favorite twist of the fucking series. I would love that.
Maybe
I
I
didn't-
should have wrote
that's-
it, dude, because I'm
You
probably
should have
wrong.
wrote that. I don't think it's true,
yeah.
but it would be honestly one of the coolest things ever. But to Dave, what you were saying, I think a cure is off the board. I think that'd be
I agree.
unrealistic.
Because
and
they say to him
dumb.
it's incurable, it's inoperable. Now, Tommy can make someone operate. Obviously, that's his deal. Like he could be Tommy Shelby and be like, I don't care if I'm going to die, operate, and
Yeah.
make Arthur hold a gun to the surgeon's head or something. And maybe that could maybe it's successful.
So then I guess to you, Luke, my follow-up question would be then, do you think the movie takes place within the next 12 to 18 months?
So I'm still
Or do you
okay
think
with
the
them.
movie-
They can be weird with the whole gypsy magic stuff, right? Like the curses, even though it doesn't have to be real, he could take it as real.
And
I
it could
wouldn't be
just be a
surprised if he gets a
coincidence.
miracle recovery and somehow does survive this, but it would be like an end of episode 6 kind of reveal. I really have no guesses there, but I like the idea of World War II being the end of the series too. So I'm hoping that it does take place more than 18 months down the line if we're going to have any sort of time skip.
Then if that's the case, then Tommy would have to die at the end of the season.
Or
and
be
then-
cured in
Or be
between, or, at the end,
cured. Yeah.
or
Yeah.
it's faked.
I really think that they would have to write it so well for me to actually like it being a fake diagnosis.
Yeah.
And this is my problem with the terminal illness thing in general. Like, if there's a miracle cure, I hate it. Like,
I agree.
If Tommy becomes a vegetable, I hate it. Like, if it's some whack twist that they don't write well, like, obviously, yeah, I hate it. So I just think that the terminal illness road kind of it puts a lot of pressure on the writing for the next 2 episodes and potentially the movie.
It better not be just a flat out miracle that it's just like randomly gone.
Yeah.
I don't think they obviously I don't think would do that, but if it's just like he wakes up one day and it's gone, that's shocked.
I was if you would have fucking like 26 seconds into that scene, I would have put my life savings that he had lung cancer.
Oh yeah, or liver cancer from.
I was like, he's got lung cancer. Like, just let us know.
I took a note that literally was like, Tommy has lung cancer, and I had to backspace it.
Yeah, and it's funny because I guess it's allowable, but if you remember him getting X-rayed, it did come up to his neck, I guess, but it's his brainstem that they're getting the picture of and showing his head in the picture.
Whatever.
I mean, whatever. It's because it's back in the day, and I mean, I thought it was actually cool. I completely, to be honest, didn't know X-rays were a thing back then. So all I'm gonna say is that I kind of came up with that weird theory just because I totally agree with you, Kyle, where I just don't want the terminal illness thing. So I was kind of just thinking of acceptable ways, and I also agree with you where no way do I want them to just be like, hey, it's a cure, you're good now, which I think would be really awful. Tommy's whole life, he doesn't get those kind of like miracles, and I think the whole point of the show, almost similar to Breaking Bad, is Tommy doesn't deserve any miracles like that.
So now I'm just obsessing over the fact of this timeline, because now that's bothering the shit out of me that Kyle brought that up about how could it be from Ruby, and who knows if they're going to explain it. I really hope there's something there of like how that timeline worked out, but I guess it's a point in lung cancer's favor, which I never thought I would ever say in my life. I kind of wish it was, because one, we wouldn't have this Ruby timeline issue, and then two, I think it's just more poetic because Tommy's always ripping cigs. Like, he should have lung cancer.
Yeah. And I just think that it's tough to say it's the TB tuberculoma thing, because I mean, I think it's not tough to say because we saw that he wasn't wearing his mask and he was in the hospital and stuff. But I think it's bad that they started showing the seizures too early, if that's their way of confirming it.
That's too big of a miss for me.
Because soon as the doctor says, like, have you been having seizures? Have you been having hallucinations? Like, you could see in his eyes that he's like, oh shit. And that's supposed to be in our eyes too.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want the terminal illness, but I would have been fine if the whole point was like Tommy loved Ruby so much that he was just in there with her, no mask, blah, blah, blah. And he gets sick. And we said it on the pod. We were like, maybe he'll get TB too. Like, but the thing is TB12, dude, but the thing is, I just think that them saying or adding the seizure thing just kind of really weirds it out for me.
Yeah, honestly, I think it would have been very nice if it was that Tommy was with Ruby so much that he got sick, and like that sped up his timeline.
Yep.
The world. That could have been a somewhat poetically nice ending.
I agree.
But it just right now just feels weird. I don't like it.
Speaking of spending time with Ruby, like we're gonna have Lizzie, who has been emphasized to have spent all this time around Ruby and then not get it.
She messed up.
She always had a mask.
She was not. No.
Not when she was originally sick, though.
When she was literally holding that cough rag to Ruby's mouth and her blood was coughing.
Yeah. Like, they didn't mask her up until the hospital.
Yeah.
But it's tough, man. I mean, obviously, you would
be
worried that Charles is sick too and all that kind of stuff. But
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I'm trusting the critics and fans, but
there's no freaking way.
That is a good point.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
people liked it.
There's no way.
Earned the benefit of the doubt.
But people also don't dissect the show like we do because we have a podcast.
Oh, I would say that's not accurate. There's a lot of super fans.
I guess that's also
that's why they listen to BingetownTV because they agree or disagree with us. They want to hear all this stuff.
They get their news from us.
That's why Luke left Marvel, because he realized when you dissect Marvel, it doesn't really add up.
Does not fucking hold up. No.
So true.
Everybody check out our Marvel coverage.
We love Marvel. Let's do, before we get out of here, I did this for the last episode, but let's do another board prediction here because we're getting to that point, and this is super relevant with Tommy's diagnosis. I want offshoot of what we were just talking about, everyone's prediction for how Tommy dies or gets away. Like, what do we think he could be taken out by this disease? Is he going to go Blazing Glory, Breaking Bad style? Is he going to get cured? Just what is everybody's end of the movie prediction here, I guess, for Tommy's outcome?
Do we
okay,
know,
so you're saying end of the movie.
Yeah.
Just really quickly, do we know the movie has already been shot or is in shooting? Like,
no, it comes out 2023. I don't think they started shooting yet, but he's on the poster. I mean,
okay, well, that's the kind of question I was asking. Is there any word of him in the movie?
But the poster came out pre-dropping the season on Netflix, so
if you're bold enough to predict that he's dead at the end of the season, they do a whole Peaky Blinders movie without him. Go ahead and say it, because this is on the fucking board.
Yeah, I think that he's gonna get sicker. The seizures are gonna get worse. He's gonna go out in what we think is a blaze of glory, but then Johnny Dogs is gonna donate his brainstem to Tommy.
Oh my goodness, I love it.
They're gonna do a little transplant, and then for the movie, it's gonna be a mixture. He's gonna have two personalities. It's gonna be half Tommy, half Johnny Dogs.
That's like the ultimate person.
Oh my god, yeah, definitely.
All right, I'm gonna get mine in there. I don't want this to happen, but I unfortunately could see somehow Esme being a huge part of this, because she did know a lot about the blue sapphire and a lot of the repercussions that came with it. So like what you were saying, Luke, earlier, gypsy magic kind of way to get out of it in a way that makes sense. So I think it would maybe have to do with Esme or Johnny Dogs.
So you think he lives
and is cured?
Yes, I don't think he's going to be cured by the end of the. Or so I guess in your direct answer, I'm going to say Tommy Shelby, he's cured at the end of the season, but in the movie, he's going to die at the end of the movie.
Okay.
Just like normal gangster stuff, you're saying.
I guess I'll just go with the generic, gangster route, saving his just the Walter White.
Yeah, my one answer is going to be obviously what I just said, and maybe he's faked out, and it's actually he thinks he's sick, but he's not.
So but you are putting that on the board.
No. That's like the way I'm saying it. Like my heart is saying it's just going to be Walter White. Like that's my heart right now. I just wanted to talk that theory through with you guys. I felt like it was enough to talk about, but I can't. I do think there's merit to the Winston Churchill thing, but if you tell me like Mosley did it or something, then why? I don't understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because
there is merit.
If you just freaking shoot him in the head if you want him to be dead.
Yeah.
Unless it's a similar thing where Mosley's like, I want to speed him up too, but I don't know. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Walter White.
Yeah, and I have nothing to add here because I still think that it is going to be exactly like Breaking Bad, even though the path is there for him to have this crazy death that's not violence related, which is what I want. Actually, I really want him to live because that to me seems super unique and unlikely. And if they pulled that off, would be amazing. But yeah, I think he's just gonna die because he has nothing to lose and just gets murdered doing one of his last mission.
Okay. All right.
That's fucking it, boys. We got 2 more episodes left.
Oh my gosh.
Scary to think about that, man. I feel like we just went through this with The Last Kingdom, and then I'm getting anxiety a little bit.
I'm so happy that you texted our Peaky Blinders chat and said, Luke, that you guys are going to do it on Monday, because I thought you were going to do it Sunday, so I was going to watch 5.
Yeah.
And I didn't because I saw the text, so I'm glad I could be on this episode.
Thank God,
yeah.
All
right, guys. Woo! We've been doing it like every single day. We took 1 day break. We're going to keep on rolling tomorrow, and the next day we're going to record 5 and 6. Our theories, they're going to be answered, whether our questions are going to be answered, rather. Our theories may be validated, maybe not. Who freaking knows? Probably not. We'll find out the fate of our boy Tommy Shelby. If you guys want to find out the fate and find out what we think about it, follow Bingetown TV, subscribe on YouTube, like on the channel. We appreciate every single subscriber. Follow us on any of your favorite podcast apps. We're on all of them. Check us out at BingetownTV.com. We do have a Patreon. We do have a Patreon now. Patreon.com/BingetownTV. All of our exclusive content's on there, just $5 a month. Every new patron, we really appreciate. We talk to you guys on the messages. it's a community, and we're glad you guys could start support, or we're glad you guys decided to support us. Anything else, guys?
Nope.
All right. Once again, we are BingetownTV, and thank you so much for listening.
Woo.